Bob and Woodworth.
Rob and Steve.
Rob and Steve.
Rob and Steve.
Bob and Woodworth. I'm just kidding. We can stop that.
How far are we gonna go?
Bro, what's up, man?
Good to see you.
I mean, what's up besides that your singing lessons are paying off, brother?
I thought I was taking them in secret. How'd you find out?
Oh man, it's written all over your face. It's very apparent in these intros. You're doing amazing. I gotta get a teacher or something. Voice lessons.
I remember there was an interview with Pete Davidson where he said that he did that. He said it would be really funny if I just busted out in song one time, and it was amazing, and all my friends were like, "Oh,
yeah, I saw that." Did it for fun. Can you imagine being so rich and bored that you're just like, yeah, I'll just do that.
I'll take voice lessons, only $300 a lesson, whatever.
So crazy, dude. He's like sneakily like one of my favorite stand-up guys.
He's pretty funny.
Yeah,
he's definitely messed up. He's got some problems, but he's funny.
He's also like excellent at roasting too.
Oh yeah,
he's
a grade A roaster.
Yeah, my favorite was when he was making fun of Jimmy Carr. He's like, Jeff Dunham's puppets have gotten so good.
That's great.
Oh man. So what's happening this week, brother? Let's see.
The big news for me this week is the car saga is over.
That's right. You got the Ioniq. You texted me earlier today.
Hyundai Ioniq 5. My goal is to get a payment as close to $200 as possible. I ended up with like 20 or 251, and that was just the best one I could get. But the kicker is that it comes with 2 years of free charging. So I basically don't pay for electricity or gas for the 2 years of my lease.
And that's got to be the equivalent of that $50 a month to get your payment down, right?
I don't drive very much, so it's really like 20. But yeah,
wow.
still pretty significant, you know.
Yeah, free money, baby. Let's go. $250 a month for brand new. It's brand new, right?
Brand new. Yep, they took the plastic off to give it to me.
Wow.
And it's like it's a computer on wheels. It is pretty wild. Like there's sensors everywhere. It will tell me when it notices when I'm at a stoplight and I'm texting and the light turns green, it'll beep at me. Say, hey, look up.
Not that you do that, just in case there's any police listening.
Well, I'm stopped at a stoplight, so is that illegal to look at my phone while I'm at a stoplight?
If the car's in drive, yeah.
Okay. I put it in park, look at my phone, look up. It tells me, hey, the light's green, dumbass. Go.
Wow. So what color did you get, and what color is the interior?
Got black on black. It's murdered out, son.
Leather seats?
So there's not leather, it's cloth. But I think one thing that's really interesting about the vehicle is a lot of people that didn't like it, they went for the EV6 instead, is because of the look of it. It's got a very like pixelated look, like very blocky headlights and stuff like that, and it looks like a Super Nintendo, like that kind of like feel to it, which I think is kind of cool. It's like a retro car on the look of it, and it's unique. But a lot of people are like, I would never get that car. It looks like it's from the '90s, and it's just a different style. But they didn't like that it wasn't, you know, modern, new, and rounded edges like a Tesla.
Gotcha. It's a 2024, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm just looking at images of it now. Oh yeah, okay. I see what you mean by the boxy look. Yeah.
It's most prominent on the headlights.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one more thing is my Bolt that I had, it would go like 220 miles and it took like 45 minutes to charge or something. This will go 300 miles and it takes like 15 minutes to charge.
Wow.
It's, I don't even know, like, it's pretty crazy.
That is bonkers. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So all the, you know, people that are saying, oh, you're stuck charging your Tesla for half an hour. I mean, the technology now, it sounds like you would do a 5-minute charge and get 150 miles. If
right.
That's all you really
listen
need.
to 3 songs and you're good to go. Like,
yeah. Nice, dude. And what's your favorite feature on the interior?
My favorite feature? I mean, because I'm pretty basic in what I need for a car. It was like, I told him I need a stereo and a backup camera, and that's all I need. Like and so that's it. But I know it's got heated seats, heating steering wheel. which I had on my last car, which the heating steering wheel was probably my favorite feature of my last car, but I got that on this one too, because it doesn't get that cold out here where you're really like cold,
Mhm.
but if your hands are out, it can get kind of cold. And so if the heated steering wheel you're driving is really nice.
That's so funny, dude. I've never used a heated steering wheel. My hands are always so freaking sweaty, just so hot.
Yeah. If it gets, super cold, like, 45 degrees.
Yeah. But you park in your garage, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, sometimes I'm like going to the gym and I don't feel like grabbing a sweatshirt and it's like 55, so my hands are cold.
Yeah.
It's the California problems.
Yeah. You don't just keep driving gloves in your glove box.
If I did, to be fingerless anyway.
My favorite feature interior of any car I've ever had is when the front seats are cooled, like air conditioned. Oh my gosh. And a lot of the Hyundais have that.
I think they mentioned. I know they said heated. I don't know if they cooled it. I should look into that. I mean, I've had the car for 24 hours now.
Yeah. Usually it only works with leather seats for whatever reason.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But
I will say that the car buying process was extremely frustrating.
oh yeah.
Because I forgot how bad this was. But like I gave him all the information, did a whole application, did my insurance, gave him my driver's license, and I was still there for 3 hours. It's just I don't understand what could possibly take so long. You knew what car I wanted, you knew when I was coming to get it, you had all my financial information. Why does it take 3 hours?
Yeah.
Somebody's got to get out there and fix that.
That would be optimal. I think a lot of the online dealers that are like online only, Carvana, and there's another one too. I'm blanking on right now, but they do that. It takes the same amount of time, but you don't really feel it because you're just chilling at home. But
Yeah.
like a lot of it too is that they have multiple departments and there's a sequence. Like they have the sales guy has to go back and forth with the manager, and there's like 10 sales guys, so they like get in line to talk to the manager on your behalf, and that's a sales tactic in itself. They want you to wait because you're more likely to sign things to get out of there. But once you get to the like numbers you agree on, they still need to then go to their financial department to actually run your credit to confirm that they can even.
I had to walk across the street to the financial department because they're under construction, so I had to walk like 200 yards to go to finance.
Yikes. But yeah, those guys, they send your info out to like a dozen or more lenders, and then they like do bids online. That's like a platform they use. There's a software that does that there, where they basically open a case number for you, and all the 24 lenders, depending on where you kind of land. Certain lenders will reach out to you. There's high risk and low risk borrowers and stuff. So and they each take like 20 minutes to respond, or up to 20 minutes. So you're waiting just for that too. And and then you got to fill out more paperwork after that to accept the terms of that loan. So it's just like, yeah. And then there's all the legalities of the handoff after that's signed. Then there's all the legalities that the next department called delivery. I think it's called delivery. Like it's like a new person.
I went back to the sales department and then they brought me the car.
Oh, really? So you didn't have to sit in that, like after finance, you didn't have to sit in that third office where you sign all the disclosures and the lemon law stuff, all like the legally required things that aren't necessarily finance.
Mine went. I did. I signed all my docs in the finance office. Then I went back to sales, and then they went to go get the car, which took too long because I was at sales for an hour. And then they knew what car I was getting, and then I go back to sales, and it still took them, 30 minutes to go find the car and give it to me, which was frustrating. But
so they didn't even have you test drive the actual VIN that you drove off with?
Nope, just test drove the same model, different color, the one that was out there, and they had so many cars at this dealership, like probably 1,000 cars there, and so they had to go back in a lot where everything's like stored and find the one that had the right color and come back. And I looked at it and turned on, was charged. It was good.
Gotcha. Yeah, you definitely want to hit the highway with that thing and just make sure everything's good in your first 72 hours.
The dealership's like 20 minutes away from me, so I'm done 75 in it already. The whole waiting game on it did get me to sign off on one thing I probably wish I would have fought back for, but I didn't because I was in hour, 2.5, was they had a $400 turn-in fee.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of my lease, I have to pay them $400 just to give them the car.
Mm-hmm. That's how they get you.
And I've done 3 leases and I have not done that before. I dropped off my Bolt the same day. It was just, here's the keys. Let me do a quick inspection. You're done. And so now I have to pay $400, which is, 1.5 of my monthly payment to give them the car back. I'm kind of thinking I'm just going to give the key, and you want $400? Come get me. Like, file a collection. Is $400 really that important to you? Good luck.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You could, yeah, you also got to look for in those leases too that they sometimes, especially BMW, I know is infamous for it, but they will they'll sneak it in there in the fine print that you have to replace the tires when you turn in a lease. Usually that's for like a 36-month lease because they're just assuming you're going to wear them out. But like, dude, I mean, that I'm using the car for 3 years. Why would I be responsible for that? They're responsible for literally everything else.
Yeah, every lease I've had, they've said, if the tires need to be changed, they won't take the car back. You have to pay for new tires. But like, I turned in my Bolt with 16,000 miles on it, so it's like they didn't need new tires.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that's going to be the case for this one too, because I only got it for 2 years.
Mm-hmm. And you don't
But
drive that much.
Yeah, they try to sell me pretty hard on a like a comprehensive insurance thing through Hyundai. It was like if your car windshield cracks or you get scratches in the paint, it's only $600 and we'll cover everything. It's like, okay, I have insurance. I don't need your insurance. It's kind of what I told him. He's like, but that doesn't cover. It's like, I'm pretty sure I have comprehensive insurance with my car insurance, but thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. The deductible on those is usually higher than, the windshield type stuff anyway.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, I'm not, if my windshield gets cracked, my windshield gets cracked. I'm not going to pay $600 in case it gets cracked. I will pay $100 when it's cracked.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. Well, cool, man.
All right.
Congrats on the new whip. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's been a big stress kind of like the past couple of weeks because it was like I had not everybody has like an end date. I have to get a car by this date, otherwise you're carless. And that was kind of like how I felt. And so feels good to have this one behind me.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. Yeah, I know it's definitely a stressful time because you also feel like you got to be all over it to get the best deal. If you don't spend time on it those last few weeks before you actually pull the trigger, you could.
I will tell you what got me the best deal was an online broker. I'll name drop them just for shout outs. Auto Companion. So they post like a bunch of lease deals, and I looked up on there what the deal was for this car after I test drove it. Sent it to my car salesman. He's like, "We'll match it, whatever," because it saves me their broker fees like $700. So it saved me $700 by price shopping with Auto Companion.
And okay. What is Auto Companion? Is that they sell cars?
They're an auto broker, I believe is what they call themselves. So they pre-negotiate deals with hundreds of different cars, maybe even thousands. It's like all the different models are out there, and they'll says, okay, you can get this deal at this price if you pay our $700 broker fee. And so you go with them and say, okay, this is the car I'm looking for. This is the monthly payment I would get for it, and this is the deal, and it'll tell you exactly what it is. So it's kind of cool, dude. Like that's how I'd prefer to shop anyway. It's more like buying a house. You don't go look at a house and say, hey, can I afford it? It's like, I want this payment. What can I do with this payment? Is what this is more like. And so, yeah, you find what car you want, find the price that it is, pay Auto Companion $700, and they'll tell you where to go get the car.
Interesting. Okay, so they tell you what the deal is, but they don't tell you where to get it until you pay them.
Right. Yep. But what I did is since I wanted to test drive the car first. I was like, I'm thinking about this car. Then I found on Auto Companion they had a better deal. Told my dealership about it, and they price matched it.
Nice. Good. Nice work. I'm gonna check that website out. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do it for purchase as well. I found it through Lease Hacker, which is like a Reddit community. It tells you where all the good lease deals are.
Car lease deals.
Yeah, so I mean, Lease Hacker is specifically for car leases. They'll every once in a while they'll post like sometimes there's crazy deals. Like there was a crazy deal on the Toyota BZ4X.
Mhm.
You could get it for like I don't know $200 a month. And you sent me that post, and it was 8 days after the deal went live, and everybody was sold out from here to Mexico.
Wow.
I couldn't find one. So it's like, but they post that kind of stuff on Lease Hacker. And so you can find the deals there. They were a little slow on this one because I didn't see it when I needed to.
You got a cooler car anyway.
Yeah, I like this one.
Sick, dude. Well, yeah. Good deal. So what else is new? What else are we is hot on the table today?
How about something that's cold on the table?
Tell me.
It's BRRR. It's real cold.
You got a bird deal in mind?
No, so I've been talking to some people about BRRRRs, and somebody's trying to do basically the second half of a BRRRR, and there's a mortgage guideline that I had forgotten about that is kind of ruining BRRRRs for a lot of people. So they now no longer let you do a cash out refinance until you've owned a property for a full year.
Ooh.
And this is for conventional loans. I'm guessing FHA usually follows suit. I didn't double check the FHA guidelines. But so you can't pull cash out of a property, regardless of what kind of renovations you did on it, until you've had that mortgage for 1 year, which usually means 12 payments when they say 1 year. So you can't, buy a house, fix it up, pull the cash out all in like 3 months anymore, unless you do some, creative financing, non-QM stuff, maybe a DSCR loan or something like that. It's going to have a higher interest rate, but you can no longer do it with a conventional loan.
Oh, dang. Okay, so you have to hold it for a year before you can refi.
Before you can do a cash out loan.
Oh, okay. Before you can do a cash out refi to get your money back.
Right. So
Okay.
that's the BRRRR for the people that don't know is buy, rehab, refinance. What is it? Repeat is the third one.
Yeah, rent out, refinance,
Rent.
repeat.
Yeah. Rent, repeat. Yeah. So that refinance R is now much more complicated. You can't do it through conventional financing. You probably, like I said, through non-QM stuff, but you can't, take out all the money that you got from that property in the renovations and use it somewhere else. You have to hold on to it for.
Dang. So essentially what that means for investors who want to BRRRR, conventionally anyway, or even unconventionally, if you want to do it faster, you just got to build either that timeline, the holding costs into your pro forma from the beginning, or you need to factor into from the beginning that you're going to have a higher interest rate if you want to cash out sooner,
Or do a renovation loan from the very beginning.
which is really hard to do.
Much more difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Not
talk.
possible. It can be done.
That's a great point. Let's talk through that real quick because I've actually had a couple people reach out to me in the last couple of weeks about that because we're pretty active in the community here in Boise, and a lot of folks know that we used a conventional renovation loan to build our ADU that pays the mortgage for the whole property, and so there's been interest in that, and people have reached out. And one thing I've been telling these folks is it's pretty tough to get a conventional renovation loan to buy something that is on market because that is not an attractive loan product or financing product to a seller. And the reason for that is that you can't close it in 30 days. I mean, unless you had
You would have to have a lot of the work done up front to close it in 30 days.
right, and all that work is very property specific. So you got to have design drawings done. You've got to have some level of acceptance from the city, because like if you're going to say you're going to build an ADU with your conventional renovation loan, the lender is going to want to see that the city is in approval of that, or that it's like a slam dunk, it's going to be allowed. If you're just doing renovation to the existing structure and you're not splitting the unit, you're not splitting it into 2 units, you're not adding a new unit or anything like that. If you're just renovating, it might be a little easier. You might be able to, get a contractor to walk through during your inspection period and provide a quote. And if it all makes sense, you might be able to close in 30 days, but you'd probably want 45.
Yeah, I think that's what these loans were primarily designed for. Houses that need like new roofs or like fixed, chipping paint and stuff like that, or maybe an overhang, this like gutters that aren't there right. And so you can do this all in one loan and get it fixed. And then, they've added these provisions. The ADU one I think was added in 2021, maybe 2022, where you can do it through a renovation loan because that wasn't a thing because ADUs weren't a thing, prior to 2020. But I think yours was unique in that you had to get, architectural designs. And when you're doing something like that, you have to be approved by the city. So I think yours is more complex, but just a renovation loan to just rehab a property. If you find a piece of junk that, you don't need to tear down walls to do, you can do a renovation loan in 30 days. Not that big of a problem.
Oh, okay. So like a lot of people encounter hey, this won't pass inspection for conventional loan. But with a conventional renovation loan, the inspection isn't as detrimental because the inspection is really just validating the contractor's quote.
Right. Yep.
That it'll then be up to conventional loan requirements in terms of inspection if XYZ is fixed as part of the. So how does that work, dude? Does that does the lender want to see that those are done after closing within a certain time period? Does the contractor have to be qualified? How does that work?
Yeah, so there's going to be 2 appraisals, but let's take a step back and talk about what really happens with a renovation loan. And so let's say you buy a house for $300,000, but it needs a new roof. The roof is going to be 15 grand. And so instead of buying the house for 300,000, you're essentially buying the house for 315 and doing your 3% down payment on 315 instead of the 300,000.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not coming out of pocket with 15 grand. But what happens is with the seller, they're still getting the $300,000. We're closing at $300,000 with them, but then after that roof is getting fixed, the contractor's getting paid out through escrow. We'll get a second appraisal or sometimes just a reinspection, which is like $200 to validate that everything that the contractor said they were going to do is done. And then you'll have your regular mortgage payment moving.
Got it. Okay, so it's paid out of escrow.
Right. Yeah. So that's kind of why they need to validate the contractor is, legit and bonded, insured, and has their license, because the mortgage company is actually the one who's paying.
Makes sense. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
And is there a time period that it's required to be completed in? And who manages the contractor? Is it the owner?
So they there's nobody managing the contract. The contractor has to manage himself, but they usually do have time frames and say, okay, if this work is not done at this point, then they can have their contingencies, like call this loan due, or your house is in default, do things like that. But I haven't run into those issues at all. Everybody gets the work done and has it done on time. And the timing will be flexible on when you need to have things done, because if it's really simple stuff like fixing chip paint, they might have that done in a couple weeks, and so they'll say like 1 month. But if you're building an ADU, you can't get that done in 1 month, so they'll have different time frames on those.
Gotcha. Yeah, ours was 2 years and we barely made it.
That's crazy.
We were actually kind of late. I think it was actually 18 months, and then we finished it in 2 years, and they just were like, "You're not done yet."
Banks don't want to foreclose on houses because it's a huge pain in their butt. Like, they don't want houses. They want you to pay them interest. They have to go send out a team to take over the house and take over the deed and then figure out where to sell it, hire a real estate agent, probably sell it on the market because they just want to get rid of it. And then it becomes an auction, and they have to stand through another 30-day process, and they're on the seller side, which they don't like to be on. And so banks don't want to foreclose on houses. That's not what they're in the business for.
Mm-hmm.
So they want you to move forward with the deal that you've gotten. And as long as you keep paying, you pay your mortgage payment when it's due, they're not going to bother you.
Yeah, I think that was our saving grace, was that we just kept paying the payment on time every time. And so they just were like, well, the contractor's still there. I mean, we were sending, picture updates and stuff, so they knew that it was progressing. Just the city held us up so long too that,
Yeah. Let's see, my bathroom's not even done yet. It's been like 3 months. So.
Oh, wow. Good thing you got it done.
Very close, but not done. Yeah, so BRRRs are changing. I think that the traditional BRRRR that, what was his name? Your buddy?
Thatch.
I think he was real big on the BRRRR, but I don't think you can't do them like you used to. I mean, you might be able to do them with like non-QM financing, like I said, but you can't do them, as easily as you used to before.
Yeah, I think people are going to have to. I think BRRRRs are just not going to work conventionally at all. A lot of people do the FHA thing and whatever to get into it, but I think people who BRRRR it, they're just going to have to be more professional rather than live and flip. It's going to have to be, you buy it with a hard money loan, you put your 20% down, you pay your interest only for 12 months, fix it up, and then refi into an investor, a DSCR loan. I think that's just going to be the way it's going to go then. Which takes a lot of average Joes out of an easy way into the market. But that was a temporary thing anyway, honestly, when rates were so low. I mean, and the market was going up. So even just based on waiting 6-12 months, you had appreciation. that was a once in a lifetime opportunity, that 2020 to 2021 timeframe to do that. And then, 2 years before that BRRR wasn't discussed because it wasn't even really very doable then, right?
Yeah. Yep. I mean, the rehabs will always be around, but you got to buy them at the right price, and that's kind of the kicker for all real estate transactions. Is if it doesn't work out, that just means that you bought it too high of a price.
Yeah.
You need to get a better deal. And so if you can find properties at a low price, it's going to get you the enough for what you're looking for on your ROI. It's whatever it is, it's going to work out. So that's the key.
Yep. You always make money on the purchase in real estate, no matter what deal it is. If you buy too high, you screwed the deal. No matter how much you control costs, it's all about
or lose money on the purchase.
Yeah. Yep. I kind of learned that the hard way with Fargo 41. We're lucky that there's income producing assets on the land now, but we definitely would have been better off if we hadn't have had paid so much for the land. But honestly, there's not much land available in Boise anymore to do something like that. So it wasn't like options were prevalent. But yeah, man, that's really interesting. I hadn't heard that. When did that change?
I couldn't tell you. I mean, I think it was a few years ago, actually.
Okay.
Maybe a year ago.
I feel like you had mentioned to me a while ago that it was going to change, and then, but I didn't really realize the breadth of it. So that's good to know. A lot of people should definitely be up to date on that if they're going to be looking at getting
our viewers will be ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Oh, we were.
AKA your mom will be ahead of the game. So does she just like I don't know, bring a couple of Miller Lights over to the couch and press play on her smart TV and watch these once a week?
I'm not sure what the cadence is, but she said she fell behind. She watched the first two, and then she's kind of fallen behind, so she's gonna have some catching up to do.
Oh yeah.
I don't think she's heard that we call her out at the end of her episode yet, because I think that was episode 3. She has not messaged me about it yet.
Well, I'm surprised she's not religiously following, because this is pretty compelling art.
It's her art, technically.
Yeah,
it came from her.
Yeah. Oh, we are her canvases.
Yep.
Oh man. Speaking of canvas, dude, I blew my top this week. At the preschool, we were reorganizing the first classroom, and all the art supplies were just sort of I don't know, stuck in cubbies, put on shelves, just here and there, and we took everything out and put things back in, cleaned the shelves, put everything back in, arranged by what it is, and all the art stuff got put together for the first time in years. And I was just shocked how much glitter we have. Every color, dude, of the rainbow. We have 7 different types of red glitter, and we threw away, I don't know, a quarter of it, and we just still have so much. And I was telling Elena and the director, I was like, can we just toss all this glitter? It gets everywhere, dude.
And I was like, the things that have too much of glitter is not something you want.
I was even like, dude, what if there's a kid that has a severe allergy, to glitter, and they're that's not a thing. And I was like, sure, I'm allergic. I'm a little allergic to it. See, I don't like it.
I identify as allergic to glitter.
Honestly, I was about to pull that card just to get rid of it. And lo and behold, that was last week. Lo and behold, Monday this week, the Fours do an art project. And I look in there, and this kid has a piece of paper with this much glue in the middle of it. And it's like a salt shaker, right? These glitters, they're in salt shaker things, clear containers, like you buy a seasoning. And he's just he made a pile this big on the whole table of just a quarter inch of glitter. And guess what? There's glitter all over from that room all the way to the exit. Which is kids who walked out that day. It's all over the walls, on the paint. Somehow it got on the freshly painted walls. It was not wet paint, but the walls that we just painted, a nice color. They're just
How old's your son?
He's 5.5, and he's in that classroom.
I thought it was him, and you're trying to cover for him.
He was there that day. Actually, and yeah, he had a slight aversion to it. He was like, no, I don't really want to use glitter. So obviously his art piece was the best, had no glitter to get all over my car seats forever. But yeah, that's on the walls now forever. Like we tried to scrub it with soap and water. And it's like, I was like, I
There's some
told you
funny
guys.
there's some funny analogy with glitter. It's like the herpes of arts and crafts or something
Yes.
like.
Dude, it never goes away. Never. So yeah, the walls have a nice little shine to them now, you know?
How nice.
Yeah. Dude, uh, as you know, too, the preschool is like all organic food, right? And whole foods, because you can't always find everything that's organic. So we also do like whole foods, like bread. It's hard to find organic bread. So we just find bread that has, only salt and flour and water as or whatever as ingredients. And even if it's not like organic flour, whatever, at least it doesn't have all the, ribo, whatever all the additives are.
The enriched wheat, like whether
Yeah,
that
exactly. Bleached. We stay away
beans
from
flour.
bleached and enriched. Yeah. But the last couple of weeks we've like gone above and beyond. Like we had already kind of instituted some of that and had gotten better, than we were before. But the last 2 weeks we went all out. Me and Elena did all the cooking and we like did all the shopping and we looked real close at every single ingredient. Like we found organic flour, we found organic sugar, we found all kinds of things at different stores, and we were cooking only healthy food, like better than what we eat at home, honestly. And it really opened my eyes to like all the crap that sneakily we eat that we don't even know it, that I know now. But so the whole menu the last 2 weeks is just like perfect, everything organic. And as we're trying some of these new things, okay, some of the recipes were a flop. We it's not like we never miss, right? A couple of them sucked. So the kids just went home and said, "Oh, I didn't like the lunch today," and they were, I'm hungry. I didn't eat much lunch. I didn't like it. So parents started sending, candy and fruit roll-ups and uncrustables and stuff to like supplement the kids' lunch in case it sucks. Um, and
Do you have like contingency lunches? Like, do you have like organic mac and cheese for like the picky eaters or something?
uh, no is the short answer. Um, if there's somebody that like one kid is allergic to cheese, so on quesadilla day, I made him a peanut butter sandwich. We have organic, all natural peanut butter, and we did find organic bread. So that day, or cheese pizza. We make a cheese pizza one day too. We use organic English muffins. We use like a whole food cheese that we found, and then we don't do like pepperoni or anything. And like the tomato sauce is 100% organic, and he's allergic to cheese, so we made him a peanut butter sandwich. But the allergies and stuff, like, that makes sense. We're not going to force your kid to eat, but we'll make him something else that day. But we really can't, like, oh, you don't like pizza, then we have this alternative meal every day. Like, we can't do that, because then it becomes this, well, I want mac and cheese too with my and then we're just cooking two meals.
Yeah, I was thinking like you could do like, have peanut butter sandwiches on deck for, anybody that's not eating enough. Because I think I'm kind of like leading you to if parents don't think their kid's eating, and tell them, oh, well, if they don't like this lunch, they can still have a peanut butter sandwich. But they're still sending them with fruit roll-ups, you said?
Yeah, and that is a fine line to walk, because you don't want to have kids going hungry, but at the same time, it's like enabling is a real thing. We're seeing it. Like the kids who are getting sent with Uncrustables, that makes it harder for us to get them to eat what we serve, and then they never will eat what we serve if they know it's like conditioning a dog, dude. Honestly, Pavlov. Like if the kid whistles or says I didn't like it, and the parents rewards them with a addictive sugary sweet, then they're just going to say it every day, right? So it's like you got to toe that line between enabling and you know getting them to try it and all of that, or making sure they're eating. But hopefully next week goes better. We tried 20 different 21 or sorry. Yeah, no, it was like 20 something different entrees, like different recipes. And there were 10 that all the kids loved. So now what we're doing is we're creating weeks that just repeat. So right now we only have 2 weeks that repeat. We'll introduce a third week later, but as we try some more here and there. But there are 10 meals that slap with every kid, and so we're just going to alternate between like a fixed menu every other week now. So hopefully that just sort of gets rid of the problem. And honestly, it might even make the kids, after a month of that, they might start to look forward to every single meal. So when there's a new thing to try, they won't have that pre-conditioned aversion.
Right.
They'll think, oh, everything always slaps, so this new thing probably slaps too, and then they'll like it, and then now we've got one more thing to add to the third week.
Do the kids say slaps?
Dude, their slang is like beyond me already, even in kindergarten. Like some of the
Really?
yeah, or pre-K. I mean, some of the kids have older siblings, and they say stuff. I'm just like, what does that mean?
English, please.
I can't. I don't even know what they are, honestly. But yeah, some of these kids, they like, I can't say names, but like this one kid always shows up in like skater jeans and Vans and like a dope t-shirt. Today he was wearing this like oversized Slipknot t-shirt.
Sick.
And he had like a flat bowl skater hat on and his like red checkered Vans. Like I was like, dude, you look better than me and you're 5.
So sorry, we're very distracted. Back to the food. I think they're like some kids just have a aversion to eating strange things.
Yep.
So how are you guys kind of, fighting?
We do have one method that is pretty elementary, but it seems to be working. Is what we're saying is you at least need to give me a no thank you bite. So what that means is you try a bite, and if you don't like it, you say no thank you. And 90% of the time they're like, yeah, I don't really like it, and they keep eating it, and then they're like 4 bites in, they're like, I like this. Can I have another one?
I gotta try that with my wife.
Yeah. Give me a no thank you bite. Yeah.
So right now, what I do with her is if she tries something new, she gets ice cream. Like she's like banks on ice cream. She can go like whenever she wants. So I think
Nice.
she's got like 4 ice creams banked right now. But I'll start doing. You have to do a no thank you bite. I don't care.
Yeah. And I gotta say, we don't make them do it. We just say, we ask if they can give us a no thank you bite before they get up. If you give me a no thank you bite, then you don't have to eat it, and you can get up and go play if you want. But they always do it, and 9 times out of 10 they like it. And if they usually that 1 out of 10 that doesn't like it, they just legit weren't hungry.
Yeah.
But at least they know, oh, I do like this, so the next time they just eat it. But I have seen too that like if a kid's not hungry, like if a kid, there's one kid that sometimes he'll eat a giant, like he'll be so hungry at breakfast. The other day he ate like 6 or 7 scrambled eggs and like 20 pieces of bacon. I cut the bacon into fourths. He ate like 20 of them. And he was like, I'm super full. And he went and sat on the couch for like 45 minutes. And then at lunchtime, he didn't eat that much, but he was like, nah, I don't like it. He's just confusing the fact that he's not ravenously hungry with, oh, I must not like it. So
He's getting some unhealthy eating habits though.
yeah. So we see some of that. That's an extreme for sure. But like if they just aren't that hungry and they take 2 bites of something and they're like, I don't want to eat anymore. Sometimes they confuse that with not liking it, but they're just not hungry.
So I mean, overall, how would you describe your opinion on buying a daycare?
It's interesting. Honestly, I'm going to say this because none of my customers listen to this. I don't know. I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about it when my son matriculates, which I learned, I think it means graduating from something up to the next school, but it's not really a graduation. It just means completing one level to move to the next. So when he's gone, I don't know how passionate I'm going to be about it. Honestly, I'm kind of curious to see how that shakes out. He's going to be gone for a month on this trip that he's just left for this week. So I think we're going to kind of get a glimpse into what it's like when he's not there. But but yeah, I mean, I definitely love the business side of it. I love what our culture is. I love that we're different. You know me, I hate conforming to anything. And the fact that we get to just like be defiant and disrupt the industry with what we're offering, whether it works or not, I honestly don't care as much. Well, I care, but like I'd rather be different and risk it than just be like everyone else and do mediocre like everyone else. So, I mean, that part of it's super invigorating for me. And if it works, dude, it's going to work big. And, you I know I'll enjoy when I'm not actively providing childcare, actively cooking, or like, meeting with one center's director 3 times a week when I'm like meeting with the regional director every other week. I think and I get to just purely be visioning and planning the business side of it while still uh, steering the ship on culture. I think that's where I'm really gonna love it.
I think I'm trying to remember the name of the book, but the E Myth. Have you read the E Myth?
I have that book. I haven't
You
read
haven't
it.
read it? Okay, so the basics of it is that a lot of people, it's the opposite of what you're talking about. A lot of people get into the business because they like working in the business. I think the example in the book is a baker starts her own bakery because she likes baking.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a good reason to start a bakery. That's a good reason to work at a bakery. And so she's like all upset that she has to do this accounting and payroll and like pay these bills and do that. And she's like, I just want to bake. And it's like, then why'd you buy a bakery?
Yeah.
But yours is like that you want to be an entrepreneur. You don't want to be a caregiver.
Right.
So you want to do the business, not work in the business.
Yeah, dude. I really want to run a big business, but there's smarter people that are making the decisions on certain operations, and I'm just running the culture and the vision and pointing us the direction that I want it to go. Have you heard of like the difference between visionary and integrator?
No, but I
Um,
mean, I guess what it is.
I think it's an EOS thing, which EOS, for those of you guys who don't know, stands for Entrepreneurial Operating System. And a big aspect of that theology is right people, right seats. And there's always personality tests you can take for not only yourself as a leader, but for your employees and yada yada yada. But one of the things is integrator versus in leadership. You have visionaries and integrators. So you have the visionary who like has the ideas, has the direction that they want the company to go, and then integrators hear that vision and then can go implement it with middle management staff and or even at staff level. And you can take a personality test to see which one you're more like naturally a fit for. And we're doing in that couples group that I'm in with 3 other couples that are entrepreneurs too. We all did the test, and most people scored like 70 and 80 on like integrator versus visionary, or like 60, 80. And I was like a 52 and 91 visionary. And I'm like, that makes sense. I have all these ideas and I write them down and I like have our big picture plan. And like I get frustrated when I'm trying to get our director to like do these things. It's because I'm not an integrator. I'm not a good like boss to like manage people at that level. But I'm really good at coming up with the ideas and like having a sense for what's going to work. No one else thought of an organic daycare. That was me, right? Um, there's 80 other daycares in Boise, and nobody's doing that. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I don't remember where I was going with that, but like, because we were talking about the E-Myth, and yes, like my point of being in it isn't to like run one daycare. Like, I'm everything I'm doing now is because of where I want it to be in like 5 years, and where I want myself to be in that in 5 years. All the work I'm doing is like to get us to that point, like pretty significantly.
That's cool. Yeah. No, I mean, I've taken a bunch of personality tests, and right now I'm in a sales position. And every single personality test tells me I should not be in a sales position,
You're too
just
honest.
because
You're
I'm
too
not.
honest, bro.
Man, I don't know what it is. I think I'm just not. I don't know what's the right word. Um, I want to say flamboyant, but like one of the tests we took was it was called the birds, and one of the birds was a peacock because they're like a showman, and it's like, look at me, I have pretty feathers, and it's like that's what salesmen are. Because whether they're good at their job or not, if they have a nice watch on and drive a nice car, you kind of think, oh, they're probably doing pretty good. But it could just be they make bad financial decisions. They bought a nice watch and a nice car when they're broke.
Yeah.
but but that person's going to make more sales than me because I'm going to make, intellectual decisions and buy an economical car and live in a house that I can afford and not buy clothes because I know they're going to go bad in 3 months. Like, and so that's why, like, I make those types of decisions, which make me worse at sales. I think they said that I'm an owl because I make,
Wise.
calculated decisions.
Yeah, so wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I need to find a way to, have other people do the sales activities and let me do the owl stuff. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it done in the mortgage industry, but that's kind of the goal for me.
I think you probably could. I mean, you're making me think right now of a guy I know who's really successful at wholesaling, and he owns a business wholesaling, and he has like 12 guys who are sales guys. They call them acquisitions managers, but he's like you. He's super honest, and he's really I don't know, like humble, like in his appearance and stuff, and he's not very aggressive. But he's paid like 80 grand for all these training courses for wholesaling and sales, and like some of that, those sales tactics that are common in other industries too. And he's paid for that for his guys, so they've all got that training, and they're like the bird dogs for him. And he started small, dude. He started with himself and like a friend, and then they got like one guy, and now they have 12 guys that all do that stuff for him. And he kind of comes in at the end as the owl to like, okay, Mr. Seller, we're already signed, but like we need to make this change, or like kind of the end negotiating. And his owlness comes in really handy in that sense, because the fact that he's their boss carries so much validation of his expertise.
Yeah.
So maybe
So I
you
think
could kind of do something like that, even if it's like a VA.
it's kind of so I think what I'm best at in my industry is putting together loans. So seeing somebody's application, what they're trying to do, figuring out the best way to get it done. That's what I'm good at.
Yeah.
It's not, what makes you the most money in this industry is going out, talking to real estate agents, financial advisors, tax planners, and telling them, hey, send me business because I'm the best. That's what makes you money in this industry. But finding those people are very egotistical, not in a bad sense. It's just they can't do wrong. And if they ever do anything wrong, boom, it's out of their head. They can go on to the next sales meeting. And so that's what those people are so hard to control, because as soon as they have an ounce of thought that you're making too much money off of me, they're going to go try and do it themselves. And they're probably going to fail, but that's what happens a lot in this industry is like the people who are mega producers just stumble their way into figuring out how to do it somewhat profitably. And it's impossible to kind of like say, hey, I'm your boss, do it this way. They just have too big egos to do that because there's so much money in this industry. I mean, I don't know how much those wholesaling guys are making, but like if you're like the top 10% producers in California, you're making $1 million a year. You just are. And that's, recurring revenue, and it just happens that way. And so it's hard to control somebody who's got an inflated ego. They're making more money than they need. They think they don't need to answer to anybody. And so if I'm trying to find somebody who's that super mega sales personality, it's just one, convincing them that they need direction is a whole thing, and then tying them down and actually getting them to do things that they're supposed to do and letting me do what I'm good at. It's just so difficult to do. So I get what you're saying. I just don't think the mortgage industry is the best place to do that because there's too much weight on the acquisition part.
I feel you. Yeah, if you were able to talk one of those salesmen into coming on your team and taking direction from you, that would be the ultimate sale. And that might even make you think, man, is this guy that good of a salesman if I got him?
Right.
What about like a young, hungry guy who doesn't necessarily have experience and therefore the ego is not built up yet?
It comes very quick.
Yeah.
Because the previous teams I was on, we did a lot of onboarding and training people who have some experience, no experience, and some were successful and some weren't. I think one of the biggest issues is that there's such a long lead time before you actually become successful. Is most people don't make a sale their first 6 months in the industry, not a single one. And so you can walk into this saying, "Hey, I'm going to be broke, dead broke, zero money income for 6 months."
Mhm.
And then after those 6 months, then you slowly start to trickle in deals, one every other month, maybe one every 3 months. And that's not really enough money to live off of. And then, if they are good at it and they stay consistent in doing their sales activities for 6 months to a year, then if they've hit the right market and they're the right personality for that, they can blow up, seemingly overnight, because they'll do one thing, like they met a real estate broker and they have an office full of 200 agents and he converted him and let him be their in-house lender and they're going to do this type of thing. All of a sudden they're getting 3 leads a day and they're good leads. And then so that's when it kind of blows up out of nowhere. But since the lead time is so long, a lot of people fall off, even if they would have been successful. But the ones who, are successful, it happens, so quickly once they actually get some traction. And I would say the ones who are new in the industry, I would say the first 6 months are just learning things around the mortgage industry, because there's so many intricacies and stuff that you do to get your license has nothing to do with actually doing production and closing loans. It's just the compliance of how to do it legally. And so after they get their license, they've studied for 3 months to do that. Now they're learning stuff that's actually useful. And so once they've gotten past that 6 month and they've closed one deal, they kind of start to get the hang of it. But it's such a huge risk to get somebody who's young and hungry, say, "Hey, come join this team. You're not going to make any money for 6 months, but maybe in 2 years you'll be a millionaire."
Well, how
And
did you do that? I remember us talking about it when you'd been doing it for like 2 years, and then you kind of told me about that, and I was like, I have a 0-year-old and no savings. How the fuck would I work full time? I'd have to bartend at night, and I'd still wouldn't pay my
right.
bills. How did you do that, or how do people
So
do that?
yeah, the most common way to do it is to come in as some types of operational assistant or something like that. I jumped in as a loan officer assistant is what they called me. And so I would help with the sales activities. I would be on the client facing, talking to the client saying, "Hey, you need to get this pay stub or sign this form." And I would field their questions. So the guy that I first worked for, he'd go out there and make the sale, introduce them to me as soon as they were under contract or said, "Yeah, let's go." And then I'd start collecting their documents, send them their disclosures, make sure the process moves smoothly, and so I learned things that way. And with that, I had joined a pretty large team. I was able to get a modest hourly rate, and then after I had some consistency, they gave me a bonus per file. And then eventually I got my own license, and I was doing my own transactions, but it started very slow because, like I said, I was not doing sales activities and let alone wasn't good at them when I was doing them. So I think it was maybe 2 or 3 years into the industry before I even started having any kind of consistency of my own business. So until then, I was mostly as working as an assistant. And luckily I had worked with this guy Sam, I was almost like a production partner, where he trusted me enough, knew what I was doing. I was I had actually switched to full commission instead of them giving me an hourly rate. I got like a split per file, and he was doing enough sales activities for me to have a split per file and be able to pay my $900 a month rent at the time. And so that's kind of how I learned it, is I jumped in as an assistant. I did it pretty slowly, but the people that want to come in and get their license and do it, you really shouldn't expect to make money the first year. So you have to have like an assistant role available if you want to do it and make money right away, but you're not going to make good money right away. You're going to make, 15 to 20 bucks an hour working as an assistant.
And these days, that's really low in California.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We do things a lot differently where I am in the broker world. I don't know what assistants get paid anymore.
Yeah.
We have like everything's like a contract employee. So it's like, I'll pay you $100 per file to do this or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Interesting, man. Yeah, it's definitely gotten a lot more cutthroat since 2022, when all those rates shot up in May. Everything's
Yep.
changed.
Our industry's down. I want to say it's like 50%. People just either not renewing or chose not to renew their license. So, and even with that, there's still a lot of people that are struggling in this industry.
Mm-hmm. But Rob, your lender's doing great. Everybody, give him a call for all your mortgage and loan needs.
I haven't quit yet.
Dumb question.
Yeah.
Do you do SBA loans too?
No.
No, not even for real estate, for buying a building with a business.
I know people that do things like SBA loans, but as far as I know, we don't really do them.
Okay.
So, I mean, I could look up a place and get them done because we have, 100 different lenders that we work with and see if somebody does one, but it's not like a traditional loan that I would know a lot about, but I might be able to find a home.
We're starting to try to educate ourselves on how that works, because obviously I don't qualify to buy a $3 million building for our preschool business, but the preschool might be able to qualify. But really, I want it to be a new entity that buys it, and the preschool is the tenant. So, but I understand you can still use SBA because they understand that it's just a separate entity from the business, but it is the business.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, makes sense. I think I've heard a lot of like credit unions and banks are the ones who do a lot of those.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's also like SBA lenders, like who specifically do.
Have to.
Good luck.
Yeah, thanks. That's going to be a big undertaking. I got to get out of the kitchen first so I can focus on that.
I want to have you cook for me. I want to see what those kids are eating. You said you got some meals that slap. I got to get some recipes.
Honestly, the pizzas are dope. The quesadillas are fire. One kid said, "These quesadillas are fire." That's a direct quote.
Little Jimmy.
Yeah. Let's see. Elena makes this killer pasta with like ragu sauce, like legit ragu sauce, not ragu the brand that is bullshit. But yeah, some stuff like that. The scrambled eggs and bacon are like everybody's favorite for some reason. Yeah. I thought kids didn't like eggs, but they really like it. We don't even put cheese in the eggs. I don't know. They just like it.
Good for them.
I've been running lately again, dude. First time I've been running in 5 years.
Yeah, with your hip, right?
Yeah, it's my first time jogging since my first hip surgery. Before my first hip surgery, I had 2 of them. But feeling pretty good. I think it's because we've cut a lot of crap out of our diet in the last 6 months. I'm down under 200, and
Congrats.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, if I can get down to like 190, then I could probably run a little farther. I'm a little I've only been doing like a mile and a half because I'm a little concerned for my joints with the added weight. Because I should be at like 180, 175. But
So my advice would be stay consistent. Whatever you're doing, just keep doing it.
Yep. You know what's holding me accountable is the dogs. They don't do well on walks. They just pull like crazy, and like I just can't train them out of it. And not enough time to like really focus on it. So Elena takes one dog who likes to play fetch, and I take the other one who just needs to run for an extended period of time. And so I've just been jogging with her and with the German Shepherd, so she's pretty slow. And but like the dogs tell me at like 4:00, they're like, "Come on, let's go, let's go." And I say, "Okay, you want to go for a walk?" And they just go nuts. So
yeah, my dog Nova used to not really go nuts about walks, but recently, I don't know what it is. If I say the word walk, she'll be like, "What? We're going now?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Do you mean it?"
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
they're funny. Yeah, those poor dogs have been. Elena and I talk about it all the time. Since quitting our jobs, dude, we spent less time with the dogs, even though we're home all day. Like they're getting,
really.
Yeah, they get the burn of it. We work long hours. We're gone recently anyway, like at the daycare from like 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. So they get a little bit of they get the shaft a little bit on the fun stuff.
Speaking of, someone just dropped a toy off in my lap.
Ooh, let's go. Pizza party.
Yeah, that's her new favorite toy. She got it when she got her last haircut. We always get her a new toy at Petco.
She gets it cut at Petco and then gets to pick a new toy. Oh,
Yep.
That's so fun. How old is she now? 4? 3?
How old are you? 2.5, I think. Yeah, she's still pretty young. 2.5.
Nice. Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, I could. The only way I remember my dog's age is because he was born like 10 days before Rafi. So.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yep. Baby and puppy, same time. It was awesome. Short,
Well,
it was a consolidated impact to the life.
yeah.
Well, yeah,
All right,
man,
man. Well, it's been good. Good pod today.
for
Thanks for
real.
listening, Mom.
Yeah, thanks, Miss T. Keeping our numbers up. Let's go.
All right. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good, bro.
Bye.
Later.